30s, we have to have some advice to give. Let's get into all the juicy and dirty gossip. And the rest, well, we'll just figure it out along the way.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Structured Chaos. I'm Kyra, and today we're getting into all of the thoughts that I have been carrying around all week. Hello everyone, welcome back. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I've got my green on, gotta be in theme. Oh, and I have green nails, which we'll get into why I still have green nails. Also, if you guys are watching on Spotify or YouTube, you might see that I have my septum ring down. It is so funny to me. So I've had my septum pierced, I don't know, maybe 10 years plus at this point. I just always have it flipped up into my nose, mainly because I can never switch them out because of my nails. And so then I was just online the other day and I saw that they had this septum ring that came with a device to help you screw it on. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And it even said on there, for people with long nails. And so I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get it. And so it had two little rhinestones on it. And after I ordered it, I was like, wait a second. I feel like they're not going to sit in the right place. You're not going to really be able to see them. So I switched it out, didn't like it, flipped it back up. The rhinestones slightly cut my nose a little bit. So then I switched this one, put this one back in, and now I've just been wearing it out because I want it to heal. But it's just so funny because I forget that no one knows that I have it because I don't ever wear it down. So it has been funny all week. My coworkers is this new? And I'm like, oh no, it's not. So that's the story behind it. I did not just get it pierced. I've had it for a while. And so getting into why I still have green nails, guys, I'm crazy about my nails. I am there every 2 weeks. And so I couldn't get in at the 2-week mark because I just did not have time in my schedule. And I could have sworn up and down that I had made it for the following week, which would have been last week. And I didn't. And she was booked because obviously, my nail girl is so amazing. So I do not get my nails done until Wednesday, and I am counting down the hours. I've never had a set of nails on this long, and I am dying. But I guess at least it looks like I did it on purpose for St. Patrick's Day because they're still so good. Other than that, I feel just a normal week. I went to the beach some more. So your girl is getting her summer tan in March, and I could not be more thrilled about it. Even my friend that I had gone to the beach with last week, she looked at me and she was like, how are you so tan? And I was there with you and I have no color. I'm like, just that Italian skin girl. She's Latina, so she should also be getting tan quickly. But that's neither here nor there. I went to Orange County over the weekend for a client. I just love my clients up there. I really, really do. They are family, we all sit, we have family dinner. I do the mother-in-law, then the uncle was over, the nephews, we just have a great time. And I really, 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 really just love them. And I, of course, just then get in my feels about how lucky I am with all of my clients. Seriously. I did a Pilates class and mic'd myself up for it, and then did an interview after. I had mentioned a couple weeks ago, I'm going to be doing women-owned gyms and doing workouts with them and interviewing them after to highlight their journey of being a female owner. And that kind of sums up my week. It wasn't really anything crazy, but I do keep forgetting to bring up the fact that baseball season is upon us, which means it is hot diggity dog season. opening day is not this coming Thursday, but next Thursday. So, your girl will be all up in there. Go Pods. We're ready for a great season. Let's just, knock the Dodgers off early this year. Please and thank you. We are in the middle of college basketball. This is the best time of the year for college basketball. So all of the tournaments finished up this weekend. Shout out to the Yukon Huskies. And now it is bracket time for March Madness. So that's exciting. Okay, so like the only news to consume my week was this dolphin story from Florida. And what it is this supposedly this man in Lee County, which is in the Fort Myers area, got taken by dolphins. I don't know if kidnapped. I don't know. And they took him for 3 days to build this underground city. And the head dolphin's name was Gerald, naturally. And Gerald created this like airway allowing this man to breathe. And so they say that they had found him on the beach 3 days later and that they brought him into the hospital and he had no signs of, and that he was like really, really dehydrated, but he had no signs of drug use or substances in his system. And that, like cognitively, he was there. And they said that he was like drawing the maps of the city that he was creating, and that he is a bioengineer, aerospace engineer, something like that. But he does deal with ocean, like oceanography, like some form of something in that field, and that he had debris, ocean debris in his lungs, which indicates that you've been exposed to a very deep level for a very long period of time. So, we know, or if you don't know, like I just love me a good conspiracy theory, especially when it has to come with the water. Like the ocean is a very undiscovered place. And so I immediately was like, well, naturally, like, yes. And like, I want to meet Gerald, and like, they could ask me, I'll go help them. I would love to be of service to this pot of dolphins, see what they got going on under there. So I'm like on the phone with my dad and I'm like telling him this story. And I was like, oh my gosh, because if you guys don't know, my dad lives in Florida. I said, oh my gosh, like I'm sure you've heard, of this story. And he was like, what are you talking about? And so I'm like Googling it while I'm on FaceTime with him. And I was like, oh, no, I was like, they say that it's a hoax. And like, you might be thinking like, Kyra, why did you have to Google that to confirm that it was a hoax? I did because I still, even after Googling it and it saying that it was a hoax, still believe that it happened. Like, I feel like they're just like trying to cover it up. I mean, they have said that they haven't taken anyone in, and I did not do my hard-hitting journalism. I did not Google, like reverse search this man's face, but I guess I should have started there. I want it to be true. I want it to be true. I think that it's true. I love the idea of this. And I just need more answers. And I really need someone to convince me it's not true, actually, because all signs point to yes, it happened. So if you guys have not heard about this story, please go look it up. And if you have heard the story, let me know what you think. I'll put a poll up to see if you guys think that it's true or not. And so, yeah, so that's kind of everything that happened. And again, sticking in theme with women's empowerment. I'm having so much fun with these segments because I just love women, and I think that we are beyond incredible. And so I love, shining a light on us like we deserve. And so I feel like I have talked about the women who shaped me when I was younger. And then last week, Jessica and I got into conversation, about women and friendships and business and, goals and things like that. And today I really wanted to focus on female friendships, and what they have meant to me, and just how grateful I am once again that these women exist in my life. And as I was coming up with this episode, I really thought to myself, like, I can't imagine a life without the women that I know in it. And I really hope that everyone feels that way about the people that are in their lives. And if you don't feel that way, then just know, like, it does exist and you can find it. And I encourage you to go and do so, because the power of women friendship is something that I just don't think can be described to a man, first and foremost. Like, they just don't get it. And I actually was then thinking about that too. And I was thinking about how men bond through activity and women bond through vulnerability. Women bond through having those tough conversations, through crying, the endless phone calls because we have to get something off of our chest, or the hugs at night and the sleepovers, and not to make it men versus women by any means, but it's like it would be a lot stranger. And I'm not saying that this doesn't happen and that it can't happen and that it wouldn't be good or any of those things, because I know that men need to have men to speak to in their lives as well. But I just think it's like very different. Like, at any age in life, you could call up your girlfriend and say, like, I'm coming to have a sleepover. I need to have a sleepover. It's not really that same way for men. They're not like, I'm going through something, I really need to have a sleepover. And so I just, like, right then and there, I just feel like we love that human to human interaction, that touch, and just the understanding of one another, and just knowing that whatever difficult time we're going through, the other person can relate and or just be so good at being there. And I just think that it is a gift that women have, and I'm so happy and lucky to be a woman sometimes in things like this, in terms of like friendship and forming bonds. I am so 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 grateful to be a woman and have these experiences. And so I just feel too, like, if you guys know me, which most of you I imagine do by now at this point, I am the girl who has a million friends. And it's so funny because when I had first moved here, people were like, how do you, like, have so many of your childhood friends? And, like, how do you, like, you don't actually, see them or talk to them as much as you know, claim to. And I'm like, nope, I talk to everyone, like, all the time. Like, I don't know. It is just like a superpower of mine. Like, I am really, really, really good at keeping relationships. I'm really good at keeping friendships. I feel like, again, I kind of like touched upon it last week, like the friendships that have kind of, you know, gone away from me all make sense as to why they have. Like, I'm not shocked by any of that. And I have my childhood friends, and then I have my friends that I have developed, living here the past 14 years. And so I will say it is so funny because I've had two different major stages in life to grow a group of friends. And it will always hold true that no matter who you become friends with, at what point in your life, you're always going to have that friend that is like the secret keeper. You always are going to have that other friend that's the one that's going to give it to you blunt and straightforward. You're always going to have like the truth teller, the growth friend. All of my friends are incredible, and I could go to them for all of the things all of the time, but there are still like those like specific traits that certain friends have. I would say for me, I'm definitely the friend that gives it to you straight. I'm for sure the one that's like, probably not sparing your feelings and probably not like delivering it as soft as I can, which is something that I do work on because I have learned that not everyone, loves that approach. It's just I don't know what other way to be, because it's like I want someone to give it to me straight, like I, of course it like stings in the moment, and but I don't know, I've just always been just like a straight shooter always. um but I was thinking too, like, who are my certain ones in life? And of course I have my very, 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 very best friend. I was telling you guys a couple weeks ago, I was lucky enough to grow up, I feel like, with like two bonus moms. So my friends Stephanie and Julia, like, they are my day ones. Like, they are the girls that know everything about me. I don't think that there is anything in my life that Stephanie doesn't know. Like, she is my person. And if you guys don't have that, I I like honestly, like, truly, 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 like, hope and wish that you find it, because I don't know what I would do without her. I don't know. Like, she has been with me through every single stage of my life and vice versa. We have always been there for one another. There has not been one moment of judgment. I don't think we've actually ever even gotten into a fight. Like truthfully. And we have been friends since the first day of kindergarten. And I don't think with Julie and I either. Like, there has never been a point in time in which, there was a falling out or we weren't talking. I feel like we always have talked together. And I think last year when we had a friends episode, I had mentioned the fact that like my friends and I don't fight. And so it is like strange to me when people do talk about fighting with their friends. Like, of course, like, you're gonna have like your here and there, like, ugh, that person was driving me crazy today. But like, as far as falling outs or like periods where we're not speaking, I've never really like had that with childhood friends. I had it with one adult friendship, which I think was like a really good moment to grow, because I hadn't ever had that in a situation before where I had like a falling out and then we came back together. And I do think that there is such beauty in that, because it does allow you the space to kind of really like see how life feels without that person, or the ego goes away at that point, so you can really like sit down and have a conversation and figure out if you want to resolve it or not. And so that I will say, I guess I have had one falling out, but we came back together, and I'm so happy for that to have happened. I think it honestly made us better friends. um but yeah, I just, like, I don't know, like, I wish people could like be in my brain or have experienced my life, in the sense of like, I really just love my girls. Like, I need them for everything. And like, a man could never hype you up like your girlfriends can. Like, they could try as much as they want. Like, girls just get girls. It's like when people say, when girls go into the bathroom and they're drunk and they walk out with three new best friends. Like, I don't know, like, girlhood is just so magical to me. And I I am honored to be surrounded by such strong women too, and women who do things in all different fields. Actually, I have one of my good friends. She has worked really, really hard, and last year was her first year that she had secured the Oscar, an account for the Oscars. And so she, got it again this year, and she was there all weekend setting up, preparing, and like doing everything. And it's like a very, big role that she has. And I just reminded her to really like take a moment and take it all in, because none of this would have been happening if it weren't for her and her hard work and her perseverance. And I just think that like, women are some of the most magical creatures on earth, because we really can come up with a goal, come up with a plan, and like really, really, really see it through. And, she wrote me like a really nice response back. And again, I think it's just like little things like that when we, take 3 minutes out of our day to remind our friend that they're doing great and that, they should be proud of themselves and you're proud of them. Um, and obviously I'm not a guy, but I don't really think like guys are texting their friends that, and not because they don't care, but because like they just don't think the same way, I think that women have a very unique knack to make little things feel really special. And so again, like I just like am so happy to be a woman and be able to live those experiences. Um and then you have your friends that are the ones that are going to always make sure that you're growing in the way in which you want to, or like they'll hold you accountable for those types of things. And so it's interesting too, because someone doesn't have to be doing the same thing as you to be able to hold you accountable. I am also fortunate enough to have someone who is in my field who is so influential to me. And not only is she influential to me in our career, but outside of that, like as a friend, like you want to talk about a real friend. She has been a mentor, big sister, just like great person in my life. And she is someone who will give it to me straight. And she is someone who has believed in me when I haven't believed in myself at times. And I will always look up to her, and I look up to her in her relationship, in her marriage. I look up to the way she takes care of her family, the way she takes care of all of us at the salon. Like I am so fortunate to have her as a friend. And I honestly, like, sometimes probably wouldn't do certain things if it weren't for her encouragement to, keep letting me know, like, no, 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 you got this. Like, you're on the right path. You got it. And again, it's just like you can go from zero to hero like so quickly when you're surrounded by your girlfriends. And I've never understood when girls say, like, oh, it's really hard to maintain friendships with girls, or like, oh, like there's like so much like jealousy in girl friendships. And I mean, I guess, sure, I guess, obviously anything and everything is possible. I just have never been in that type of environment, so I couldn't understand how anyone can say like, ugh, like, no, like that's why I have guy friends. Like girls are too catty. And it's just like I think it becomes a you problem, because I have just never experienced that. And again, I think like if someone's going through something, then obviously like their attitude is going to be different, but that's where the magic of being a woman comes into play, and you help them through it. And which actually gets me into my next point that I wanted to talk about, is like there is nothing stronger than women coming together when a woman wants to or needs to restart her life, whether it's through a career, a relationship, a marriage, a self journey, whatever the case may be. um I know I always reference my career. I know I always reference my clients, but I have the, unique lifestyle where I am talking with, 60 plus people a month and learning about their lives. And over again, I'm seeing them and we have these relationships. And so, and that I have a lot of male clients too. So I'm getting both sides of things. I'm able to come up with like a more real assessment of how men and women, kind of go through things and handle things, because I'm talking to them all day long. And, I've had clients that have, and friends, that have lost all their money because their partner was doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. I have people that found out, of affairs, or of child abuse, or that they had like really, really big falling out with their family member or their friend. And, you know, when women have got up and left, you know, their marriage that they've been in for 30 plus years. And I've been there and I have supported them, you know, when women go through family deaths, you know, and I think that a woman rebuilding her life is one of like the strongest things. And again, like I'm not a guy, so I can't relate to guys and like how their mind works when they're rebuilding, but I think that women are unstoppable. And I will always just like give us our flowers and put us on a platform because we just are so special. And to witness it in real time when I see, you know, people in my lives and myself included that have been like down and out and broken, when we just put the things we know to use and we start building and redefining who we are and getting out of our own way, I think that the greatest things happen. And I've watched, you know, I always try and tell people who are possibly, you know, going through divorce or considering a divorce. I said, I've never met a woman who has regretted it. Not one single person has ever told me that they were getting a divorce and said, I wish I didn't. Even if they ended up back with the person, they didn't regret how they got there, you know? And so I always try to remind anyone when they're going through something hard, like, this is hard, but so is your life right now. So like hard and hard, you might as well pick the one where the outcome on the other side is going to be beautiful, you know, where you can then feel like you're in control of your life. And I've seen it over and over and over again where, you know, in real time when you're going through something you can't see outside of it and you think like this is going to be my new normal, I can never feel happiness again and joy, or like I can't take the risk because of A, B, and C. I've never seen it not work. When people want to do a career shift or again, leave a marriage or, you know, have a different color hair. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't have to be some monumental thing. Like I've never seen a woman regret trying something. And then when you pair that with other strong women that you keep in your circle, I mean, truly the possibilities are endless. I know I've just been kind of like saying like, "Oh, women are so great. Women are so great." But I don't think that it is celebrated enough. I don't think that the magic of women is like appreciated as much as it should be, you know, by society, by us, even ourselves. I mean, like, that's why I have a Galentine's Day party every year because I just love my girlfriends. I love them so much. And also, I meant to say to kind of like get back to, you know, the fact that I've had to grow another group of, you know, female friends. And that can be really hard, especially coming from a place where I've just had these friends my whole life, like since I was in school. So it has always just come natural. It has always just been us. And I've never had to search for a new friend group before. And it can be scary just based on like what people say, you know, going back to like the jealousy, the cattiness, something that I'd never experienced, but it does exist. And so it is funny how you do kind of just find your people. And I feel like all of my friends here would fit in seamlessly with my friends from back home and vice versa. Like everyone kind of has like the same characteristics and qualities within them. So I also feel like as women, we naturally kind of like flow to the people that makes sense to us. And I just like I would be nothing without my girlfriends. and I would be nothing without my clients and like these women that build me up and believe in me and support me and encourage me and listen to me and seek advice from me and value me. I know I keep saying the word magic because that's just really truly how I feel. I feel like that's like the only word that can sum it up is like we really are just incredible magical creatures. And I will continue to celebrate women every single day. And if you have someone in your life that has always been there for you and you're listening to this episode, just reach out to them and let them know, that you're thinking of them and how badass they are and how wonderful they've made your life. I think that, texts like that really, really, really go a long way. And so, I am going to get into the Love is Blind reunion because I feel like I have to talk about that. Next week will be a full Bravo episode. And then to close out Women's Empowerment Month, I'm going to have a really cool guest on. And so I'm going to be having a question box on Instagram on my stories these next couple weeks for all of my girlies to submit their corporate questions because I have a real badass woman coming on ready to answer all your questions on how to get ahead in the business world. And that is, I can't give advice to the corporate world. So I am so, so, so glad and fortunate to have someone that can answer all of your questions. So here's to celebrating women. And let's get into a little Love is Blind recap. So switching gears, I say all that women empowerment stuff only to go right into bashing a woman. Because, okay, watching Amber and Jordan on the show, I kind of was getting a little like, she's a wounded girl. She's a wounded woman, and it is really showing. And obviously we only saw what the cameras showed us, and it's been a year since it all originally happened, and they are no longer together now. And according to Jordan, he had really tried. And you could even tell in the reunion, like Amber was just, you could tell she's hurt inside because she comes off as like very like hard and very like, oh, you're not going to bother me, or I'm going to be the spokeswoman for all of these women and all of the people that men, do women wrong. And I don't really like a woman like that because it's like, it's okay that you've been, burned before. We all have not had perfect relationships, but like, you don't have to wear everyone's problems on your chest to not deal with yours or to make it seem like you don't have any and like your anger is coming from, the disappointment from others. And so, and I really didn't like how she kept using her daughter as like a talking point and saying like, well, why didn't you say goodbye to her? Or like, what about her? She was really hurt. And I just felt bad for him because I feel like you can't win in that situation. Like, what is he supposed to do? That's not his child. And you hate him supposedly now. So what is he supposed to do? Ask to pick her up from school? Like, that'd be weird. Like, ask to take her to dinner? That would be weird. And I'm sure that there's like a level of like unknown and like, I'm trying to respect you and, that type of thing too. So and I thought it was really sweet of Jordan to say like, I was really nervous, but this has been great, like talking to all of you and like referencing the audience and all of America or whoever's watching on Netflix. But yeah, you could tell she's got some really deep wounds that she should work on before getting into her next relationship, because I think that she is so nervous to like let her guard down. I mean, of course, we have to talk about Chris because this was our first time seeing him after that mixer. And again, a year later, we're hoping for reflection and growth and accountability and, anything basically. But this man, I mean, he didn't double down on what he said, but it was very just like, Do you have anything to say? I'm sorry. Oh, that's it. Like literally, like nothing else. We're not going to bring up anything else. And it's like, no, I said I was sorry. Like that's basically like the energy that he was giving. Um, I really like Jess. I think she's a strong ass woman. I love that she was like, nope, nothing to say to him, nothing to say at all. And I think she got out, how she felt and, kind of what she learned along the way. And I got everything that she was saying. I thought she was like right on par. I thought she was a, grown woman who sat in her thoughts and really reflected and then knew exactly how to articulate her feelings. I thought she did a really, really, really great job at that. Chris just sucks. He's going to continue to suck. He didn't really give off that he thought that he did anything wrong. And again, I look at him and I look at her and I'm thinking like, how in God's name did you think like you could talk to a woman this beautiful this way? And even if she didn't look like Jess, like you just don't talk to a woman that way. Like I just, gross, 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 gross man. And so then right in theme, another gross man, Alex. I mean, another person who doesn't have accountability, another person who kind of just like wanted to like play it off like, oh, I'm not hurt, like, oh, I don't care, like, oh, nothing bad happened, like, oh, like, yeah, I knew that all along. And like, oh my God. And then he still didn't understand what people were confused about with his timeline. And he was just like, I just feel like I'm getting interrogated all the time. And I just feel like I'm talking in circles. And like, okay, well, if I answer this question, then you're going to have another follow-up question. And it's like, yeah, that's how that works. If you're lying or if things don't add up, another question is probably going to follow. Like, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me a lot. Like, your answer is confusing. So, yes, I do have a follow up question. And the fact that you're annoyed by that tells me everything I need to know. And then, of course, he has to make a stupid soccer analogy. Like, we get it. We get it. You used to play soccer. We know. And we didn't care then. We don't care now. And I just think, again, like, Ashley is beautiful. It looks like she's like very, very put together in life. Obviously she's still feels some type of way about it, but I do hope that she finds love and that someone loves her the right way. And then our other man that sucks is Devontae, which I have a lot to say. First, we saw him and Alex playing soccer, doing a soccer shootout. That's the most character we've ever seen in him. Like that was like, honestly, if we saw the Devontae on the show that we saw in that soccer video, like I maybe would have liked the guy. Like he seemed like he could talk to you and had a personality versus this like stiff nonverbal version we were getting of him, which gets me to Brittany, girly, like, what is it going to take for you to understand that this man does not want you? He did not want you. Like, you were the only one confused in this situation, to the point where, like, her dad was at the reunion and, like, stood up to ask Devontae if he had lied to his face. It's like, why do you care? Yes, he did. He lied to you. He said that he was madly in love with your daughter, who he was not madly in love with your daughter. Why do you need to ask him that question? Why do you need to put yourself through that? Why do you need to put him through that? Why do you need to put Brittany through that? Like, I just didn't understand why the dad needed to ask, like, anything to him. Like, guys, it's clear as day he did not like your daughter, which is his right. He can choose to not like her, but like, my God. And then the whole like Devontae going with the girls to Austin. I mean, Jesus, Austin is like a plagued city after this season of Love is Blind, which took place in Ohio, but Austin seemed to be the center of every talking point. And so all the girls go to Rufus to go to the Rufus concert. So first of all, Devontae and Brittany are still together at this point in time, and he tells her that he's going on a work trip, only to find out that he's actually in Austin on a leisure trip with some of the girls from the cast, who they thought that she knew, but it was a lot of like back and forth, knowns. So I can understand why Brittany feels some type of way for sure. But I think Devontae, that's like really like weird and like gives me the ick that you went on an all girls trip just by yourself. And then something like tricky happened with your Airbnb. So then like you were kind of like forced to stay with the girls. Like, I don't like that. No, no, no. But I did see a photo of him, and I don't know if it's AI or not. And I looked in the comments, and some said that that was, and some said that it wasn't. So I can't really conclude. But it was at the reunion, like post reunion, a picture of him and his pregnant fiance, which like, or whatever, pregnant girlfriend or whatever they are, which wasn't addressed at the reunion at all. Also, like that seems like a pretty big talking point. But all in all, I thought that the season was entertaining. I thought the reunion was a little too long for my liking. Um, I look forward to the next season. I look forward to Alex and Chris never being on my screen and Devontae. And I hope that, well, Devontae, I guess, has someone pregnant, so he has a girl in his life. But I hope the other two never have women in their life because they don't deserve the beauty of a woman. So yeah, that's all I've got to say. Love is Blind season 9. That's a wrap. So, yes, thank you guys for joining me this week. Like I said, next week we're going to do Bravo. Week after that, it's going to be a cool interview. So, make sure that you are following on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. All of the info can be found in the description below. Also, make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I'm Kyra, and this is your reminder that having it mostly together still counts. See you next week. Bye.